Hello everyone, so welcome back to my channel. In today's topic, I'll be showing you the best means in which you can use to calculate your menstrual cycle, the best ways in which you can also calculate your ovulation using a very simple method. That's the calendar method. I'll be showing you. I'll draw a calendar here, then I'll be showing you. So you just have to take some notes on your calendar and you will know the best time you are ovulating. So if this is your first time watching me, I'm May Yvonne. I'm happy to have you here in my channel. So please don't forget to click on the subscription button, turn on the notification bell. So in today's topic, I will be talking about the menstrual cycle. So what is the menstrual cycle? The menstrual cycle, it's a kind of physiological changes that occurs in woman's body, preparing her for pregnancy, conception, everything. So how do you calculate your menstrual cycle? The menstrual cycle, you start calculating it from the first day you start bleeding till the day before you get your next bleeding. So you have to stop the day before you start bleeding again. So let me take for example, you start your menstrual period is starting on the 1st, and the next one you have it on the, let me say, on the 31st. So your menstrual cycle will start from this 1st, this is the day, this is the start, till the 30th, because you have to stop here because you started bleeding back on the 31st. So your menstrual cycle is the interval from the 1st to the 30th. You will not count the 31st because this is the day you started bleeding for your next menstrual period. So I'll also be showing you, like, for if you are having an irregular menstrual period, how can you easily check your ovulation period. So I'm going to be showing you here. And for those with a regular menstrual period, someone with an irregular menstrual period is somebody that maybe for the first month the person might have a menstrual cycle of 25, another month it keeps changing, meaning it's not consistent, the numbers are not consistent. But for someone with a regular menstrual cycle, that is somebody that is having the same numbers. That means the numbers are consistent. Like for example, the person had the menstrual cycle this month, it was like 28 days, the next consecutive month is also 28 days, just like that. So with that, it's very easy for the person to calculate the ovulation period. But for someone with an irregular menstrual cycle, how can you calculate this? You have to count for a period of 6 months at least. You have to take down notes for a period of 6 months. Each month you have to check your menstrual cycle, then you jot it down. Another month, let's take for example month of January. Your menstrual cycle was like, let me say, 30 days. June, you had your menstrual cycle, let me say it was of 28 days. So how do you calculate your ovulation period from these statistics of menstrual cycle that you have gotten? And before I get into this, first of all, a normal human being is supposed to have menstrual cycle from between 21 days to 35 days. This is the normal menstrual period. So most individuals, they have between 21 days to 35 days. Most of the times, if you have your menstrual cycle, it's less than 21 days, there might be an issue. Well, for that you have to confirm that by seeing a doctor. And also, if your menstrual cycle is going above these 35 days, there might also be a problem. So you can only check that with the doctor. So most at times, menstrual cycles are usually between 21 days to 35 days. This is the normal range. So for some individuals, theirs might be this short, like 21. For some, it might be up to 35. But for majority of people, their own menstrual cycle is usually 28 days. This is the range in which many people falls. They mostly have 28 days. And then for your period, like for your flow is usually within 2 to 7 days. So, but most people will have their flow for 3 days. Some people will be bleeding for 4 days. Normal length for menstrual flow is from 2 to 7 days. But for some individuals, they will have maybe for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, depending. But majority of people usually have a menstrual flow with an average of 3 to 4 days. So in case yours is less than, you are bleeding for less than 2 days, there might be an issue. maybe an infection or something, and so you also need to see your doctor in case your bleeding period is lasting just for less than 2 days. And also, if you are bleeding for more than 7 days, it could be an underlying problem, maybe an infection whatsoever, or it could still be it's normal for you. That's why I say you need to see a doctor. But normally it's usually within 2 to 7 days. Majority of people will have it falling with between 3 to 4 days. So for you to calculate the total menstrual cycle, you need to know for an irregular period, you have to put a statistics of 6 months. This you are putting it for 6 months because it's irregular. For someone who has a regular period, normally you can just do that within 2 months. You do the first, if it's the same, the next month is the same, meaning your period is regular. But if it's regular, each month the statistics you take might not be the same. It could equally be the same the next month. It will just keep changing just like that. So that being said and done, how do you calculate now the ovulation period for someone with an irregular cycle? So how do you calculate for someone having this kind of cycle? So when you look at the cycle, you take the one that is lowest. You choose the month that is lowest. If you look through, you see the month of January, this person had a menstrual cycle for 30 days. The month of February, 35 days. The month of March, 31 days. The month of April, this person had for 27 days. Month of May, 21, and June, 28. So the lowest here is 21 days. So we are going to pick 21 days to calculate our ovulation. So that is how you get it. And I keep saying ovulation, ovulation. What is this ovulation? Ovulation usually occurs within the middle of your cycle. That is the time in which your egg is being released. When the ovary release your egg, that is called ovulation. So, and that is the most fertile period of your cycle. That is your fertile window. So in this cycle, menstrual cycle, your fertile window is this period when your egg is being released. So if you want to get pregnant, if you are looking for a baby, this is the best time you have to focus on. Also, if you don't want to get pregnant, this is the time you should avoid having sex, or you should have protected sex. So I'm going to take an example for this one. The first one, for an irregular period, the lowest day was 21. So I'm going to use a 21 days menstrual cycle and demonstrate how the person can check the ovulation from this. So let's go, guys. So this is my calendar. I'm going to be showing you how to calculate the ovulation period for an irregular cycle. So from our statistics, the 6 days, the 6 months that we choose, we had the lowest menstrual cycle to be 21 days. So from that 21 days, we are going to put it on this our January calendar. So let's just take, for example, this person started bleeding on, let me say, for example, day 3. So on day 3, this person started bleeding. How are we going to calculate the menstrual cycle? So if the person started bleeding on day 3 will be our first day. It will be day 1. Then this one will be day 2. This will be day 3. This 19, 20, 21. So this is the day before the person started bleeding. Like I said previously, how do you calculate? So for you to be able to know your menstrual cycle, you need to start from the first day you started bleeding. So for this example, this person, the first day the person started bleeding was on day 3. So this is my menstrual cycle. I've already drawn that. So the first day this person started bleeding is from day 3. So we will count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 21. So 21 is the day before she started bleeding again. So her next bleeding will start on the 24th. So you have to end your counting on the 23, which is the day before her next bleeding. So that's how you calculate your menstrual cycle. And one mistake many people make is that they think if they start bleeding on the 3rd, maybe the next month they are also to start again on the 3rd. It doesn't work like that. You just need to count consecutively. It's not by, like, let me say I started bleeding on the 2nd, next month it means you are supposed to bleed on the 2nd. No, it doesn't work that way. After your menstrual cycle, after your ovulation, it takes you 14 days for your next ovulation to start back again. So that is why you have to calculate the menstrual cycle and you subtract it by 14. So you always take the menstrual cycle minus 14, which will give you the answer that it gives you is the ovulation. So for this case, our menstrual cycle is a 21 days menstrual cycle. So we will take 21 minus 14, which gives us 7. So our predicted day for ovulation, this 7, the answer is the answer for ovulation. So our predicted day for ovulation for someone having a 21 days menstrual cycle, it's on day 7 of the menstrual cycle. So if we check here, this is day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, day 7. Our day 7 will fall on the calendar on the 9th day. So on the 9th day on our calendar, it's the day of ovulation. So we will just write here ovulation day, ovulation. So this day 9 on our calendar is the day the person will be ovulating, which is the 7th day of the person's menstrual cycle. So for example, let me say the person has a menstrual cycle of 35 days. You just need to take 35 minus 14. This 14 is the time in which the person is going to take for the next ovulation to take place. So you just have to take, each time you want to calculate your ovulation, take your normal menstrual cycle, you subtract it by 14. The answer that it will give you will be your day of ovulation. Normally, most at times, this ovulation day, it's not usually certain. The ovulation day, the ovary might release the egg a little bit early. At times, it might delay. So for this, you have to always, like, take these 7 days, you add plus 2. You take 7 days, you add plus 2 in front and plus 2 behind. So what am I saying? Like, this is the menstrual cycle. This is our ovulation day. Our egg might be released maybe before this day 7. So it might be released maybe, let me take for example, our egg may be released maybe on this date. It could be released 2 days before this our ovulation, and same as there might be some delay. So the egg will be released after our predicted ovulation day. So it might be released maybe on day 10 on our calendar or day 11 on our calendar. So these are the predicted ovulation day. Normally you usually have 4 predicted days. So once you have taken your menstrual cycle, you subtract it by 14 and you have your ovulation day. So you have to add plus 2 days in front and plus 2 days behind. Those days you have added will give you your exact ovulation day. And when you look at it, we have a total of 5 days. These are your most fertile days because this is the exact day, the exact prediction on your fertile window. These are the days in which your egg must be released. So within these days, your egg might be released. It might be maybe on the 7th, which is day 5 of your menstrual cycle. It could be maybe on day 6 of your menstrual cycle, which on our calendar is day 8. It could equally be on day 7, which is our actual predicted ovulation day. So in my vary, we don't know the exact day the egg is going to be released. So that being said, as per science, normally when this is our ovulation day, our ovulation day is this day 9. This day 9 stands for our ovulation day. So from day 9, you always add, you take your ovulation day, that is 7 day. Our ovulation day is on day 7. You have to go backward. You add 4 days to it. And then you take again our ovulation day, day 7. You go forward, you add 5 days to it to have your total fertile window. For you to know your total fertile period, this is what you have to do. Take your ovulation day, you add 4 days backward. You take the ovulation day, which is 7, you add 5 days backward. So looking at it, this is our ovulation day, which is day 7. This is the 7. So we have to add 4 days backward. 4 days backward will be 1, 2, 3, 4. So looking at it, on day 3, this day, this is the start. It will fall here. This day will mark the start of our fertile window. So day 5 on our calendar, which marks day 3 of our menstrual cycle, marks the start of our fertile window. So that's how you know it. Then now you have to add 5 days in front of the ovulation day, which is 7. So this is our 7th day, which is the ovulation day. We have to add 5 more days in front. We count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which falls on day 14 on our calendar. So we mark here. This is the end. This day will make the end of our fertile window. So for you to be able to know the start and the end of your fertile window, this is how you do it. Okay. So from this day, from this feet coming right here, these are the days in which you are fertile. A sperm can survive in a woman for up to 5 days. So let's take, for example, you had sex on the 5th day. So you will see that the sperm can survive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is able to meet the egg. That's backward, you add 4 days. Forward, you add extra 5 days. So for you to be able to know your total length of your fertile window. So for example, the person had sex on the 5th. So you see the sperm can survive for 5 days. It will take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That person will be pregnant. In case, let me say, the ovulation is taking part within these days, if the person have sex here, you see there is a high probability of this person getting pregnant. So the closer to your predicted ovulation day, that's the highest time when you are more fertile. For someone who is looking for a child, who wants to have maybe twins, triplets, this is the highest time you should have sex. This is the highest time you should be active, because this is a time in which you can easily get pregnant within this fertile window. But in case you come and you are having sex out of your fertile period, all of these other periods starting from the 15 to the 23, you are safe. So you can equally have protected or unprotected sex. You will not get pregnant. And there is also this question some people will always ask, can I get pregnant when I'm still bleeding? Yes, it's 100% possible you can get pregnant while you are still bleeding. Let's take, for example, for someone having a 21 days menstrual cycle like what we just explained here. This is a 21 days menstrual cycle. So the ovulation day of this 21 days menstrual cycle starts from the 5th, which is in day 3 of this person's cycle, and ends on day 14, which is on day 12 of the person's menstrual cycle. So if this is the first day of the menstrual cycle, meaning this is the first day the person started bleeding, and like I explained, when you are bleeding, your bleeding is most people, they bleed between 2 to 7 days. This is the period for most people. So majority of people, some people will bleed just for 3 days, some people will bleed for 4 days, some people might even bleed for up to 7 days, and some people might even bleed more than 7 days, but that is rare for some individuals. So now let's take, now for example, this is a 21 days menstrual cycle. This person started bleeding on day 3, which is the first day. So let's take, for example, this person is bleeding for 3 days or 4 days. Let's take 4 days. This person started bleeding on the 3rd. This is day 1, this is day 2, this is day 3, this is day 4. This person is still bleeding. So you see on day 4, the person is already inside the fertile window, because the start of the fertile window started on day 5. So if this person has sex while the person is still bleeding, definitely the person has a very high chance of being pregnant, because sperm can last for up to 5 days in a woman. So example, the person had sex on the 5th, the sperm cell is going to stay 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which will definitely meet the egg. That's why you get some people saying you can get pregnant while you are still bleeding. It's not like you can. There is 100% chance you can get pregnant. So for someone with a very short menstrual cycle, there's a high probability that while you are still bleeding, you can equally get pregnant. Let's take, for example, this person bleeded just for 2 days. You will see day 1, day 2. you see that day 3 the person is already entering the fertile period. But most of the times, many people, they bleed for 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. Let's take, for example, this person is bleeding for 7 days. See what is going to happen here. This person started on the first bleeding, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. The day when the person is ending, that's already the ovulation day. So if in case the person was still bleeding and had sex, definitely that person is going to get pregnant, because the day 7 of the person's menstrual cycle is the same day the person is ovulating. So the person is highly fertile on that day. Meanwhile, the person is still bleeding. So you might think maybe because you are bleeding, you might not get pregnant. No. So you need to always make sure you know your menstrual cycle, you know your ovulation day, because this might get confused. Many people, they have the mentality, no, if I'm bleeding, then I'm 100% safe. You might not be safe. You might equally be like in a case of this 21 days period, you are bleeding for 7 days. Your day 7 will be the highest peak of your ovulation, which is the highest day in which you are being fertile. This person is safe to have sex, and the next menstrual period will commence back again on day 24. So from day 24, the person will start counting it as day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, day 7, day 8 for the next menstrual period. So that's how you count it, and the person will end the day before the next bleeding. So the day before the next bleeding will be the end of the second menstrual period. So that's how you count it, and that's how you do it. For this, I'm going to take another example.